Hello, welcome to Cosmic Cunts. I am Mo, and this is Liz, and we are here to fuck shit up.
Yeah, fuck shit up, heal, disrupt systems, just change the
Yeah,
game.
absolutely. This is our holistic outlook and hippie outlook to thriving and surviving in today's world. And we're gonna keep it as raw and unabashed as fucking possible because, like, vulnerability is hard to come by. It really feels like
Yeah, these
raw
days
honesty.
it's all about vulnerability and authenticity.
Yeah. So thanks for being here with us. Um, and thanks for holding space for me, Liz, and thanks for allowing me to hold space for you as we navigate being authentic. Um,
Yeah,
we're going to start off with a tarot read.
let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so we've got, I love, so really, let's talk about this. We've got the King of Cups, we got the Hierophant, we've got the Three of Wands, and I'm going to show you this. I'm using the Modern Witches Tarot deck. I love this deck. Great use of color. There's rendering without using like actual like shading techniques and using color as the rendering. But we've also got the Three of Wands here. So what are we talking about? We are talking about owning our emotions. Like we are now coming into this. So we're just talking about being raw, unabashed, authentic. Like let's talk about being vulnerable, not just with other people, but with ourselves about our emotions. We are now becoming we're gaining dominion over ourselves. We're mastering selves by mastering emotion, and that comes from the understanding. So that introspection, really, the Hierophant, like this is all about calling in the wisdom from within, right? Because Three of Wands, here comes new beginnings. We've got a lucky number 3 here that's really like all about this new journey about mental clarity. So getting our hearts right, getting our minds right, getting our crown and heart chakras open so that we can become those master manifestors that everybody's like, trying to become, because it's all about mastering self, propelling forward in a raw, unabashed way, unfettered, comfortably, doing so comfortably. And I love that these cards really align with what we kind of started talking about, like in our introduction. That's the energy for today. What do you have to say, Liz?
Everything just continues to align.
Everything continues to align. So this is technically our second podcast, right? We did a first one last week with you here, still on island, and now this is our second podcast, and you are in New
Yep.
York in a completely different time zone. We're not in the
Yes.
same energy. How are you feeling?
Um, I'm feeling really good. I mean, I'm still kind of acclimating. I think my body still doesn't quite know what reality is just yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like I'm home, and that's what matters. So,
Good. I love that. I love that. We're talking about alignment. We're talking about getting not just our chakras aligned, but the energy aligned. And you've done a really courageous thing, and you've taken taken a chance for yourself, for your future. You moved not just to the mainland, you moved to the other side of the mainland by
yep.
yourself. Like, I really want to talk about like the balls you have, bitch. Like you are fucking amazing. Like you are inspiring. Like this is healing. This is growth, and it's all you've said yes to opportunity. I
Yeah.
love that for you.
I
That's
definitely
a
have
big fucking deal.
I've definitely had to embrace and acknowledge the fact that I am a Sag at the end of the day. Like I got a Sag stellium, and like that is how I'm meant to move through life. I think
Absolutely.
I've spent so long trying to listen to the preconditioned things I was taught about like how the world works and about how you're supposed to move through life, like always having a plan, always planning things out, being responsible. um, I was raised with my Japanese side of the family. So, my Japanese grandfather very much was like, you need a government job, you need retirement, you need all these things, good husband, like everything mapped out. So, I've definitely always been the wild child rebel. And I mean, this is definitely the most rebellious thing in the eyes of my family that I've ever done. But I've definitely come to embrace and love the fact that this is me at the end of the day. You know, like this is how I move through life. This is how I'm most in alignment. 'Cause anytime I try to fight it and I like have the best laid out plan, it blows up in my face so fucking hard. And whenever I YOLO shit, then everything works out.
Yeah, you are growing into the flow and you are breaking free of the mold that other people placed on you. You're breaking through all the generational expectations.
Hmm.
That's a big one.
Yeah. And I want to make it,
Cultural expectations.
I do want to make it clear I'm not like trying to persuade anybody to just like go off and impulsively move with no plan because I don't think it's for everybody. But I
It's
do
not
think,
for everybody.
yeah, I do think that my biggest, like, I guess, lesson or message that I could try to share is find what works for you. Really just stop giving a fuck about what works for everyone else because it only hurts you. Like, I know it's so cliche, it sounds so
Yeah.
simple, like we hear it all the fucking time, but I swear to God, there will be a moment where you internalize it and you feel it for yourself, and oh, damn, that feels good.
Yes, yes, it is living in alignment with yourself and who you are, what your needs are. It's mastering self.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and it requires a lot of self-awareness, which, let's face it, it's really hard to do, especially when you have to look inward at yourself and not just see what you want to see, but acknowledge also the shit that you don't want to see. Like
Yeah,
that can be so fucking challenging, so fucking hard. Um, and and you've had the self-awareness to know what you need, what works for you.
you as well. Like, I gotta
Kudos.
say, just in like the time I've known you,
Oh,
you have
thank you.
grown and it has been so inspiring to watch you. Like, you continue to inspire me the way you are raising your kids and like showing up for them while still healing yourself. Like, I know how hard that is to have all those triggers, and like, I am so amazed by what you do every day.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Yeah, it's interesting how much you know you need to feel and then you don't. You just put it off because it's easy to ignore. But then when you're,
Hmm.
yeah, hit with all the fucking triggers constantly, it like kind of you're either drowning or you're transcending. And I've decided what I want, and it feels really good. And I can't tell you how much it means to me to have you validate that, to see me.
Yeah, you're doing it. You're doing what you set
Thank
out
you.
to do.
I really don't have a fucking choice. Like these kids, I saw something on social media the other day. It said being a parent is like being given a star from God and said, "Hey, make sure this continues to shine bright. Don't let it dim." And it's like that's a lot of pressure, but it's also very,
Yeah.
re- it's relieving in a sense because it's like, okay, all right, well, that's all I needed. I just needed the purpose. I just needed to see that to motivate me to um, make me more determined. It's like, oh, you're right. It's not about my healing so much right now. It's about making sure that they don't get the unhealed version of me. They matter more than I do to me right now. And I know we're supposed to put ourselves first, but sometimes when you're so low, you really need those outside forces to pull you out of the trenches. So you can't do it alone.
Yeah. When especially as a parent, I feel like sometimes you do need to have that like child to draw you out of those places. Because I mean, being a parent is the most selfless thing you can do, and I think that there is a reason some people become parents. Like they need that energy in their life to help continue to motivate them to have that selflessness and keep
Yeah,
pushing forward. If that makes sense.
it does. Yeah, 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 definitely. Like I used to think that I didn't want kids, and then my son saved me. Like, and I don't mean that like I'm putting pressure on him to like continue to save me. I
Yeah.
just but I do want him to grow up knowing how important he is. I want him to know his self-worth because he matters not just in that he's helping others. He's a beautiful gift that deserves to exist for himself.
Hmm.
And I want both my kids to know that. Yeah, they saved me and I can't thank them enough.
Kids really put things in perspective. Like they really
Yeah.
help you put things in perspective. The way they see things, it's such a different view of the world. It's just so clear and simple, and it shifts
It's
everything.
it's innocent, it's playful, the possibilities are endless, and they're just happy to be here, to be curious and explore. And then they've got these tiny little hands.
Yeah.
and they're just fucking cute, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're so curious and yeah.
Well, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I feel like for me, a big part of my healing journey has been just going back to being a kid. Like, I've kind of come to realize that, we start off the way we're meant to be, and then we get conditioned, we grow out of some of those things. And a big part of healing and actually like becoming yourself is just going back to that core, who you were, that soul, happy child vibe that you
Yeah,
had.
healing the inner child and being there to reparent yourself a little bit or a lot of it, uh, to get back to that was the purest, most time in your life when you were
Hmm.
just, you're right, you're absolutely right. You're just you're who you're meant to be. And so healing, not just like going into your Akashic records, your timeline to like go back and heal the energy of that, but it's to heal you in this moment too, to
Yeah.
like, um, my husband sent me something yesterday. It was like, you're not healing to deal with the trauma because you're used to the trauma. You're healing in order to be comfortable with joy. And it's like, oh shit.
That actually, yeah, that's true. Because I feel like that also correlates to that whole thing about how, like, when people enter a safe relationship or like a healthy relationship, oftentimes, like, that's weird to them and like they try to like
Yeah, it's like, what
mess
the
it
fuck
up.
do I do here?
Yeah, because you're so used to conflict and drama that you don't know how to just be safe.
Yeah,
And
the
it feels like
self
boring or
sabotage.
weird. Yeah.
It's uncomfortable because you're like, why I'm safe? Like,
Yeah.
okay, great example of this. Like, there was like a few weeks ago, like, I was like really fucking stressed out. Like, I was overstimulated, touched out, like, all of it. Like, I had no control. I felt like I was unraveling. Complete panic attack, just like about to start. And I realized that I wasn't wearing a bra. And that's what triggered me. And it's like, oh, I needed to be Temple Grandin, just like, just pressed up
Compression.
against myself. Yeah, I need the compression because that's how I feel safe. This is how I feel in control. It was like, oh my God. It's like, yeah, yeah. So getting out of that toxic survival mode
Yeah.
instinct, getting out of survival mode. Like, not everything is fight or flight.
It's so hard though, because your body, like, it's biological. It wants to stay in that. 'Cause it's like we got to stay alive. Like, it
You're
doesn't understand
rewiring.
modern. It doesn't understand modern things. It's just like, okay, they're stressed. Like, we're gonna die. It doesn't matter what it is. We're just gonna die.
Yeah. And it's like you're literally rewiring your nervous system. Like,
Hmm.
this is a fucking process. You're building new synapses and
You're fighting your literal brain and body to help it heal and
physically.
learn how to just be chill. Like,
Yeah. So you're not only dealing with like the emotional, spiritual growth that's happening there, which is a lot. You also have to do it physically,
yeah.
which means there's a lot of different chemical releases. How is that affecting your body? How is that affecting your thoughts? It is a whole fucking thing. And this is why
Yep.
somatic healing is so important. Like, because as much as we try to rewire our brains, like we need to physically catalyze all that shit
Yeah.
into place.
Lately I am all about transmutation. Like, that is just my bread and butter these days, because
Yeah,
that really is what it is. Like, I've kind of come to realize, like, that is what the somatic healing is. It is just transmuting the trauma and the energy and just getting it out of the body.
alchemy.
Yeah, just you have to transform it. Like I said last time, my favorite quote is that one: take that rage, put on a page, take the page to the stage, blow the roof off the place. Just transmute, take it, turn it
Yes.
into something beautiful, get it out of you, and let yourself be good.
This is how you heal. This is how you create. This is how you build energy. You are in control of the energy that you are imbuing to those around you, into the environment around you. And you can't do it all the way if you're not doing it all the way. Like, you don't just work legs, you don't just work arms. If you want to get stronger arms, if you want to get
Hmm.
stronger legs, you have to work your core. You have to do all of it. It's a full body workout.
Yep.
You got to be able to support and balance. Like, there's a synchronization of all of it.
Hmm.
Synchronicities. It's like
When you look at how
it's
many, like, not just Eastern, but even in psychology, there's so many systems where there is, like, a chart system, like the pyramid, Maslow's hierarchy pyramid thing, or like the chakra system, where you have to like work your way up to reach transcendence. Like, it's not just a one and done. There's not just one thing you work on and you're good. Like there is so much work that goes into each place, and it's constantly building upon each new thing to get to those higher
And it
levels.
and it's a constant cycle. We're never
Mm-hmm.
done it once we get to the end. It's like you can't stay in a constant state of euphoria because then otherwise it's not euphoria.
Yeah.
Once you start to transcend, you got to go back to the beginning to heal some other shit, to mute, to move some other shit, transmute all of it. It's an endless cycle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. It is a process. It's a system. Like there are steps to this shit.
Yeah. You can't just jump in and go like, okay, I'm a pro, like I'm at the top. Like there's work to it, you
Yeah,
know? Um,
there is
I always have to remind
steps
myself
to
that
it.
like monks daily meditate. Like all they do is meditate. Like their
Yeah,
whole life, their whole job is just dedicated to trying to be in that ascended state. And they still are, again, never stopping the work. It is all they fucking do to try to be in those realms. So that for me gives me so much grace with myself. Because I'm like, you know what? If the monks ain't perfect and that's all they fucking do, and I'm out here actually in the world with all the triggers, it's
yeah,
okay if I'm not always the most ascended, highest vibing person. It's okay if I get a little
yeah.
cussy, a little real, a little fuck it up
Yeah,
sometimes, you know?
yeah. It's all about, yep, being graceful with yourself. You said it so well, giving yourself grace. I actually, yeah, I was talking to Bobby about that like the other night. Like, uh, I was actually pretty proud of myself. So for a few days, I wasn't responding as frustratedly as I have been in previous days to like my kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I was getting really frustrated. It's like, why am I not being better? Like I feel the full moon energy come in, retrograde, Jupiter and Uranus, like all that energy was really helping me. And so I was like, why am I not still in that energy? And my full moon manifestations, like I literally
Yeah.
wrote down that I was gonna be a better me. So why am I not being better? And it just like kept triggering me because I wasn't hitting my ideal. And then I was in the shower and it was like, well, bitch, those triggers were coming up, not just to trigger you, but just because shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to not be your best self because you acknowledge your feelings immediately. And it's all about giving yourself grace and compassion. Like, I needed that. I needed that so
Yeah.
much. Like, growing up, if I ever made a mistake, which I was taught was absolutely the worst. Like that is mortal sin. Don't even try to do anything because you're gonna make a mistake and we can't fail. And
Yeah.
so, and anytime that I would, I'd say, I'm sorry, I feel really bad. I'm really sorry. And I got, you should feel bad. And I hadn't heard that in a while. And so when that screamed at me in my head during my shower, I was like, oh, that is the background noise. Those are the backstage whispers that I've been hearing my entire life. So of course I was getting triggered, and of course my triggers were triggering me. That is no longer a part of our DNA. I wash that away. Let's transmute that.
Yes, you.
I am giving myself grace. I'm giving myself compassion, that gentle love. I need to give that to myself now. Like
Yes.
let me pink opal myself. And like I was really fucking healing, and so I was like standing there like trying to shave my legs. I nicked myself because I just like popped up. I was like, oh, oh, okay. But it was great. So thanks for bringing up giving yourself grace because
Yeah.
that's been something that like I've healed from this week, and I can't wait to share that with you. Really excited, really proud of that
Actually,
one.
wait, even same because literally yesterday I had to have a whole moment of like giving myself grace too because I was like, oh my god, this is like, you know, my first like full day here in the city. Like I should be going, doing all the things, but my body was fucking wrecked after traveling. I will say I'm very impressed that my 5 foot 100 pound ass managed to haul over like 100 pounds worth of luggage all the way here
Yes,
by myself.
bitch.
But like in hindsight, not a
You
great,
fucking killed it.
like my body wrecked, you know? So I definitely was like, I want to do all the things. My body was like, hell to the fuck no, bitch. We are going to lay in this bed and we're going to sleep
Good for
this the
you.
fuck off. And I definitely like had to battle myself for a bit because there's this whole like you need to be productive, like you moved here, da, 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 and I realized all that shit was from my family and all me just thinking that I had to prove something or like earn
Yeah,
their approval, do all these things, whatever, whatever. And I'm like, no, when I actually listen to my body and listen to what I want in this moment, it is to just chill. So I'm gonna chill because life is short, but it's also long, and there will always be another moment.
Yes, absolutely. Look at you showing up for yourself and like letting go of those people pleasing, like survival tactics you learned.
Dude, Aries season, man, that eclipse really did some magic to me.
Yeah, that was a lot of good energy. And I know that, we always joke like, oh shit, the fucking retrograde. But you know what? There's so much potential.
Yeah.
There's so much healing. If you're like pushing against the grain, yeah, it's going to be some fucked up shit. But if you go into the mindset like retrograde's going to do with what retrograde is going to
Yeah.
do, and some shit's just not going to work out, everything leads you to the path that you're meant to be on. And even if you don't believe that and you think things just happen, then it's just that. Things just
Mm-hmm.
happen. What the fuck are you going to do about it? Absolutely fucking nothing. So go about your day and like make sure that you're happy with yourself.
Oh, yeah. The more you release expectations and just let yourself be, truly the happier you fucking are. I mean, my ass, I moved during the retrograde on the full moon. I purposely booked
Dead
my
ass.
flight for the full moon during the retrograde, which is a time that most people would tell you don't fucking travel, like stay the fuck
Don't
home.
travel, stay home.
But my ass was
That's
like, no. My little chaos magic ass was like, I'm intentionally gonna do that shit because fuck it. I'm gonna channel this chaotic energy and I'm gonna transmute it to blast myself into the future. And like, yeah, there were some things that went wrong. We did have to deplane, flight got delayed, like little things. And normally that shit would have triggered me.
that
I would
shit
have
was
been
gonna
in
happen.
full breakdowns, meltdowns. I was so chill because I was like, you know what? I knew this was gonna like. I chose this. This is a retrograde. This is part of the process. I was like, if are some of the little steps and mishaps that have to happen to get me there,
Yeah,
fucking worth it. Let's do it.
fucking worth it. And also, you're right. It is like if you just go in with that mindset, it's
Yeah.
shit's just gonna fuck up. And it's not about you controlling the circumstances. It's all about controlling how you respond to the circumstances.
Yep.
It's all about your reactions. And I just saw this thing. It was like, people like to say you go with the flow, but I like to grow with the flow. And it's like, oh, fuck.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I
Yes.
released that one. Hold on. Did you hear my neck crack? Like that one was
Yes.
good. That was you're going
Oh,
with the flow of water. You are the water. You are becoming one with your emotions, your intuition, and getting yourself right so that you can just be present, so that you can just enjoy the ride and learn what you learn along the way. It's like, oh, when a bend looks like that, maybe I just move a little more to this way and it's less jostling. You figure it out.
yeah.
You figure yourself out. And that's the only thing that you really need on this journey is yourself to be right with yourself.
Well, and like look at kids and look at every other animal species. Like kids in every other
Yes.
animal species, they are not stressing. They don't really have too many expectations. They're just vibing and doing their thing. And they are
I'm
so
learning.
happy. You don't like, yeah, dogs have anxiety, but that's really when they're around humans. You don't really see too many dogs just doing their thing, having all the depression and
Okay, but
anxiety shit,
wait.
you know?
But is it like that tree? Like if we, if they're not around people, they don't have anxiety. But is it just because we weren't there when the tree fell? Maybe we just didn't
That's
know.
true. That is true. Actually, as I was saying that, I was thinking, I was like, watch, there probably are some videos of like wild dogs having panic attacks somewhere because I'm
There's
sure
not.
they still get stressed. It's a biological thing, you know? So, like, I did realize that is kind of dumb. Like, it is a
Yeah.
biological fight or flight thing. But I do feel like they are generally happier than humans.
Dead
I
ass.
feel like
Dead
humans,
ass.
we just like to be stressed. We just create all these, like, issues for ourselves. And then we're like, oh shit, we're miserable. Like, what do we do?
Bobby sent me like this meme. It was like God pointing at the human. He's like, "There, I've made a human," and all the angels are like, "You fucked up a perfectly good monkey and gave it anxiety. Is what the fuck you did."
Genuinely. Like, oh my god. Humans are so weird.
Nah, it's just like, well, okay, sure.
Yeah,
I could have been picking berries, but I got a credit score like this is wonderful.
I feel like
And now
whoever,
I'm anxious about everything.
yeah, whoever was creating humans, they were just fucking around. They were probably a little high, just having a good time.
Yeah. Bring back the flood.
I will say that that is why I have always connected more to polytheistic religions, like
Yeah.
religions with multiple gods versus like the one god
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
I like the fact that in polytheistic religions, they're imperfect gods. To me, that's It's more
Oh
accurate.
God,
You
I
know, they're a
love it. The
reflection of
fucking Greeks.
humans.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
everybody's terrible.
Zeus is
Everybody's
like the biggest piece
the
of
fucking
shit in
worst.
the like yeah, the only good one is like Hades and Persephone because they're just chilling in the underworld. Everyone else is
They're
fucking
like,
shit
and
up.
everybody's like, oh my God, well that's Hades, and it's like he didn't want this shit, and like he was desperate for love, tricked Persephone, and like they're just, would you be happy? Would you be happy down there?
I'd be happy in the
Probably
underworld.
not.
Actually,
Well,
yeah. If I was
if the
related to
underworld,
Zeus and all those fucking bitches, I would
you're
happily
right,
go
you're
lock
right.
myself in the underworld.
Haven,
Right? You know,
for sure.
he's got diamonds and
You've
jewels.
got a
He's got
point.
magic. He can set that place up to look like however he wants to. He's fine.
And everybody there seems to have a sense of humor. I
Yeah.
mean,
And he's got a
that's where all
three-headed
the funnies
dog.
go.
Three-headed
Yeah.
dog. Like,
The imagination. I mean, I bet you he's got some stories.
oh yeah. Also, like, you know, he gets to torture bad guys. So, like, if Trump showed up, I would just get to beat the shit out of Trump every day. Be kind of fun, you know?
Yeah. Hades really is in control of
And
punishment
everyone
of
goes to the
bodies.
underworld.
So why is he a bad dude? He's the greatest dude. He's got to carry out the punishment. Like, that shit's hard, man.
I
That
got
wouldn't be an
a
easy
whole thing
job.
about that. I got a whole thing about. I watched so many videos on it. A big reason why Hades is viewed so bad in the Western world is because of like Christianity. It's because of that lens. Like Christians are trying to make Hades
Yeah.
like the equivalent of Satan. So like with the Disney Hercules movie, that one actually like really messed things up because that's kind of how a lot of like Westerners, like young kids, got introduced to Hades. I mean, even for me, that's how I was first introduced to Hades was that movie, and in that he's depicted as like kind of a satanic bad guy, you know, more classic like just evil. It's more like black and white, good, evil.
Yeah.
Versus the reality is that is not Greek mythology. Like Zeus was the bad guy, Hades was pretty much just chilling, you know, but
Yeah.
when Christians trying to tell the stories and how it's been modernized and westernized, they put their spins on it, you know, like Halloween and Easter and just everything that they touch.
Yeah. They kind of really fucked everything a little bit. I mean, okay, yes, I know some good Christians, but I mean, like, in general, like, just
Yeah.
religion itself it, it's done some good here and there,
Yeah.
but it's
I
done
do
a
think
lot more harm.
yeah. Like psychologically, sociologically, I do think religion plays an important part for humans. You know, I think it is a necessary thing because it gives people hope. You know, humans do need something to believe. It has been proven that like
Yeah,
humans need something to believe in because it does affect like their endorphins and like their happiness levels. Like people who don't believe in anything are way more depressed, have shorter lifespans, blah 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 blah. So you know, like
cynical.
even believing in spirituality, like this is healthy for us. It's better for our brains, whatever, whatever. So like I do
Yeah,
think it is good for people to have religion. I just think that people twist religion and take it too far and turn into colonization techniques, and that's when it becomes very problematic.
cultish
Yeah,
and problematic, and yeah, yeah. I like the idea of religion, and I don't think that anybody's wrong in their beliefs. But
yeah,
you're right. It is more of a spirituality, mental health kind of thing. It's like you have to believe in something,
yeah,
but can we just be nice about it and
yeah,
respectful of like other people's boundaries? Like
yeah.
let other people believe what they believe, and it doesn't mean that you're wrong. Everybody's got their own sense of reality, their own perspective of reality,
Hmm.
and it doesn't mean that another truth isn't valid.
It just means
Everybody
that
has
it's
their
not true
own
for
truth.
you. Yeah, we're all different people. We're
Exactly.
all supposed to have different perspectives and different things that are true for us. What's true for me will never be fully as true for, you know, it's going to be true in different ways for you, or it might not be true for you because we're
Yeah.
different people living different lives with different experiences.
And different purposes, like, and
Yeah,
the energy alignment it's not universal. Like, we've all
yeah.
got our own little snippet of the universe, and the energy, the vibration is different. um
I think sometimes we wind up on the same wavelengths and like we'll be on similar
yeah,
wavelengths as people for a while, but at the end of the day, like it's two people on the same wavelength, you know, journeying together
yeah,
kind of a thing versus like becoming one or like being on exactly the same page type of thing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, without differences we wouldn't be able to help each other grow, uh
Yeah.
and progress forward, and so it's definitely necessary. But again, when you're hurting other people in the
Yeah.
name of that,
I
then
live
it's
by
really time
Amy
to reassess.
Poehler's good for you, not for me. That is my thing. I'm like, you don't try to change me, I won't try to change you.
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
mutual respect. Like,
Absolutely.
mutual respect. Good for you, not for me.
And like respecting those boundaries, like it really is just it's respecting that person for
Hmm.
who they are. I love that shit.
Yeah,
I'm trying to,
just seeing
yeah,
everyone as a fellow human being. I think that's really just what it is at the end of the day. Just taking the time to go, yeah, you're a fellow human.
I don't want my kids to ever feel pressured into believing exactly the same things I do, or, I just for the sake of respect, I want my kids to be free thinking. I want
Yeah.
them to develop their own opinions and their own theories, because it tells me that they're trying to connect, that they're trying to think and create and be better, improve. I I love that for them as their mom. So I don't ever want them to feel like you have to go to church on Sunday or else you're a sinner. You have
Yeah.
to believe these certain things or else you're just the worst and we only uphold perfection. Like that shit's hard to grow up with. And like having religion shoved down your throat and healing from that, let's talk about how that's also traumatic.
Oh yeah, dude, so many people I know that grew up Utah Mormon, oh my God, the traumas they're still unlearning and working through because of how religion was shoved down their throats.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God. It's like, please stop trying to shove me into a skin that is not my own.
Yeah. I really feel like the more you try to control your child and the more you try to tell your child who they are, the bigger the rebellion is going to be because it has to be, because they have to have that in order to become themselves at
And
that point.
even if they don't rebel, because let's be honest, like I've got some family members who just, you can tell were absolutely shoved into a mold and they never rebelled, like because not everybody has the courage.
Yeah,
But let's talk about the resentment that comes with that.
that they hold on to and they
That's deep.
internalize, and the way it spills out of them,
Manifest.
and yeah, and affects their other relationships. Yeah.
And
I,
their bodies, like
oh
it
yeah.
physically fucks you. I used to think that like alcohol didn't like vibe with my body. I was like, oh, I just produced too much stomach acid. No, that was the energy that I was growing up in. That was the energy that was surrounding me. It was anxiety, it was
Hmm.
pressure, it was resentment, all of it like physically manifested as fucking GERD. you know?
Yeah. I've been in situations where my body will just straight up start getting nauseous around certain people when it decides that they're not safe anymore. Like in certain settings,
Your
it's just
body knows.
like literally, it's like nope. Like last few days on my last job, I was getting so sick in the morning. Like I would wake up and I would feel absolutely shitty, and I knew it was because my body was like, we don't want to go to work, we don't want to be there. Your body will
Yeah,
100% be like no, and try to set those boundaries if you don't set them for yourself.
exactly. Yeah, your body knows exactly what the fuck it feels. It's picking up on the energy before you are intuitively or cognizantly. Like
Hmm.
your body fucking knows. Your body's responding to energy and shifts. And if you pay more attention to the body, again, we're going back
Oh
to
yeah.
like everything is connected. Like when you're listening to your body, then you're figuring out what's going on spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Like you gotta pay attention. It's that self-awareness.
Dude, you really got to read that Anatomy of the Soul book. I feel like you're gonna love it because it's like
Oh
so
my
just
God,
in
man, it's in
alignment
my
with
cart.
everything we've been talking about is literally like all in alignment with everything she talks about in that book.
We should write a book.
I'm actually trying. I have like a bunch of like stuff that I've written while tripping on shrooms, and I'm actually compiling that into a little book.
Nice. Good. I love
Yeah, I
that for you.
think it'll cover all the shrooms trips, like all the writings I've done since the initial spiritual awakening went up until when I left Hawaii, because I feel like that was the ending of a chapter. We're on
Yeah,
to whatever the next stage after that initial spiritual awakening was, which is terrifying but exciting.
I love that. Okay, just really quick, I just want to point that out there. We can edit this down, right? So, like, if we want to take that little part out about like writing a book, about you writing your book, like, if we want to take that out, because like outside energy really throws things off, and I want success for you. But
Yeah.
sorry, I was like, all of a sudden, like the mother hen in me, I was like, no, I gotta project
Yeah.
that one. Sorry. I just,
No, actually,
not
yeah.
sorry.
I'm not, yeah, I haven't decided yet when I want to start talking about it. So maybe we should pull that for
Yeah,
now, just to be safe. But also, if we leave it
yeah, yeah,
in,
yeah. We
fuck
can,
it, whatever happens. If it gets left in, it gets left in,
yeah,
type of thing.
yeah. But we can see about working it out. But I just, yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Sorry, we're not just talking.
It came out of my mouth, so the universe wanted it said. So, you know, that's kind of my logic these days. I'm like, if something word vomits out of me, I got the Libra Mercury,
It's
so
meant to be.
clearly
Yeah,
something was meant to be communicated there.
yes. Okay, so retrograde ended.
Hmm.
Full moon. I got my period. I was like 10 days late. Like my body was finally like, we can release. And I was
Yeah,
like, damn, that was, yeah.
so satisfying,
I
I'm
was like,
sure.
the timing couldn't have been more perfect and so satisfying because I was like, I feel really tired. I was like, my body needs rest. I was like, but so do I. I need a lot of emotional, spiritual rest too. I was like, why is this? And then my period arrived and I was like, oh,
Yep.
like, um, growing up, like my period was like, let's not talk about it. A lot of natural things were like, let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
Because it's gross, it's nasty, no seas cochina. Like, I hated that word growing up, being told I was a cochina for having questions. And now as an adult, in my late 20s, trying to connect to my divine feminine
Hmm.
and now understanding my cycle more, understanding when it aligns with the moon and in which moon phase and all of that energy, I hold such a deeper connection, such a deeper appreciation for my femininity, for my cycle. Um, it's something I used to shy away from, to stray away from, and being any, more feminine felt very uncomfortable because I always felt like I leaned more. I think I still do. I lean more towards an androgynous energy. And so when
Actually,
I
yeah, I
was
could see
first
that.
pregnant, yeah, when I like was first pregnant, like I was so uncomfortable tapping into that divine feminine energy. I was uncomfortable with being vulnerable with her and holding another life inside me. Like having somebody else's energy growing inside
Hmm.
you it was a lot to process on a spiritual and an emotional level at first. But now as I connect more to my divine feminine, I just love her so much more. And so I think this period especially has had significant meaning for me. My first period, like I literally did not know what was happening. I saw chocolate in my underpants and I was scared. I was like, I'm dying. What the fuck is that? I know I didn't
Yeah.
shit myself. And I called my mom in and there were, like, we had guests there, but like, whatever. My mom came in and she was like, oh. And it was almost like she was disappointed. And she was like, okay, you got your period, so here are some pads. And I was like, okay.
No
So am I
further
done? Is that
explanation.
it? Yeah, I was like, am I done, like, bleeding? Is that it? Like, and she was like, oh no, this will happen for a few days. I was like, a few days? Okay, so I wear one pad a day? Oh no, you have to change it constantly. What the fuck? And she was like, Marissa, let's not talk about this. Really? And I was like, oh
But
my
like you
God.
have
And
to talk
honestly,
about
that
that.
was,
That's basic hygiene for women. Like that's kind of important information to
dude.
tell.
And like, I was talking about this with Bobby the other night or whatever, recently. I was like, that shit was traumatizing and I didn't realize it
Yeah.
until like one of my shower meditations, right? Like there's nothing like scalding hot water, like melting a layer off your skin to like really get you thinking. But I was like, oh shit, that was traumatizing. And so like, yeah, so this
Yeah.
period, when it hit like full moon, here's the end of Mercury retrograde, I was like, oh, I've been
It's
waiting for that one
healing,
for years.
cathartic.
It was fucking healing, man. I was like,
I'm
oh,
glad you got to
this is
have that
beautiful.
cathartic release. I'm so happy you got to experience that. I will
Yeah, I
say
had the
though, like,
spiritual release and like, oh, it was
yeah, any parent who's raising a child who has a uterus and is going to get a period, like you have to take the time to explain that shit, because that's hygiene. Like that is literally that could like
Dude, and then
that
she
could cause
gave me a
so many
book.
problems. Like what if you hadn't changed
Shh.
anything? What if you wore the same pad for 3 days straight and got a massive infection? Like
Dude, and like all of it, like she gave me a book. It was like how to keep up with yourself now that your body's going through changes. And I was like, okay. And it was like body hair, body odor. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, the most recent thing that happened to me was that period. So I skip forward to the part where it's talking about actual menstruation and puberty. And I was like, okay, well, let me learn as much as I can because mom wasn't really a help. She came by, saw me reading it, and she was like, I knew you were going to jump to that first cochina. And it was like, oh my God, you're right, I'm the worst. And so, like, I had a lot of trouble with my sexuality and exploring and figuring out my body because I was like, oh my God, I'm a cochina, I'm a sinner, I'm going to hell, you know? And it was like, you wouldn't tell me about it. I'm trying to fucking learn and I'm disgusting. What the fuck is that? Oh, and then I was in sports and I was like, hey, mom, can I, like, I need some tampons instead of pads, like, because, like, I keep leaking through my my fucking pads or I'm bleeding through all my softball and soccer equipment. Like it's embarrassing. I'm gonna wear tampons. And she was like, tampons are for after marriage. And I was like, it felt like it came out of left field. I was like, what does one have to do with the other? And I was
yeah.
like, I had to ruminate on that shit for a while because that's what she left me with. She left the room after that. Tampons are for after marriage. And my autistic ass, I was like, I don't understand. Like, do I need a certificate to like buy them or
Yeah, like how do I prove that I can use a tampon?
I was like, I don't.
Is it like, do I have to
And then I
show
was
my bed
discussing
sheet
it.
like with the blood, you know?
Yeah, like really, I was like, I don't. Oh my God. And I was discussing with like a nurse friend and she was like, does she think it's gonna break your hymen? And I was like, oh, she thinks I'm a virgin. And I was like, but what the fuck is a tampon gonna do? I'm not getting off on a tampon. Are
No.
you? I have questions, but I also don't have questions. But also, what? Um,
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for this period. I started bleeding 10 days late and I could feel the buildup, but I was managing it well. But then when it came, it was like, ah, cool, let's make room for everything I'm manifesting.
Yeah. I am so proud of you for going through this and talking about it, sharing this so openly, because I know that like this is
I
also
feel
a part of
safe
the healing, right? Like this is also part of the healing is talking about it. You get to talk
being
about it.
vulnerable, like
Yeah.
voicing it, like, oh my God, I feel like as soon as the words left my mouth, so did that energy. And now
Yeah. But I
yeah,
also
I
feel
want to
like
go
it's so
run. Like, I
important
don't,
for us to have these honest conversations about our bodies because like I definitely grew up feeling ashamed of my body too because I grew up Asian, so it wasn't as strict as yours, but like we didn't talk about shit. Everything is you just keep it to yourself. You keep quiet, so like my
yeah,
sex talk from my mom was not nothing, and like I had to learn everything from friends. So I feel
yeah,
like I basically learned everything about being a girl from friends and like how to put on a tampon, what diva cups were, like how to take care of pH
yeah,
balances, like what a yeast infection was. I learned all this shit from like friends and the internet, which is
yeah.
wild. But I feel like it's so necessary for us to have these conversations so that we don't feel ashamed of what's natural and normal for us, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because
Thank
bodies
you.
are weird. They do weird things. We got to talk about it. We
They
got to
do
laugh
weird
at them.
things.
We got to be real.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Porn
Like,
has tried to teach us that bodies are perfect all the time and they just always look pristine. And like, no, 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 no.
fuck off. Talk to
They,
me about your hemorrhoids, okay?
yeah, they queef. They
I
like,
love the queef. I think the queef is fucking hilarious. I'm like, oh my God.
dude, the best
Or
is when it
she
makes a,
misses you.
yeah, the best is when it makes a weird noise when the penis is going in and you're just like, oh, okay.
It's like, we're just excited, grieving you, fanfare.
Yeah. Like that's a shame to talk about because I will say like for a long time I didn't have friends that talked about that kind of shit and like anytime like when I first started having sex and like weird things would happen I was like
Did
oh
you
my god
feel
like what's
weird?
you're so stressed you're like reading erotica you're watching movies and
Yeah.
porn and you're like this is just a me thing
Not
Like,
once did it happen in the book I was reading, okay?
yeah, not once did she all of a sudden have to pay to do such just like random fucking things that
Yeah,
you're just like, you don't think
yeah,
about.
you don't. Because nobody talks about it. Oh, and it's not okay to ask questions. And it's
Yeah.
like, I have questions. No, people are like, that's personal. Growing up, I got a lot of that. Like, that's a personal question. Like, yes, I understand, but
But
I'm
like,
blind.
yeah. Like
Help
I'm
me.
trying to learn.
Help
Like
me
help
to see.
help us learn.
Like, I mean, how do you humans human?
Like humaning is
Help.
weird. We don't get a guidebook. Like let's all
It's weird. It doesn't come with a guidebook.
yeah.
And they're like, here, figure it out. Or don't, because you can't make mistakes. It's like, oh my God.
Well, we're both
How do
neurodivergent,
I
so
eat this?
we really got thrown into a world that was not
Yeah,
made for us with a rule book
was not. No, no,
that
no.
does not make sense, but we're just expected to magically know, and we get punished when
Figure it
we're
out.
wrong. Like,
It's
you
like,
know.
oh, oh, yeah.
Being human.
Yeah. Thank you for this.
Thank you. This felt really good.
Yeah, this felt really fucking good. Thank you. I don't want to cut it, but I gotta run,
Babies.
I think.
Yeah.
Babies and husband and appointments. And I was like, okay. But
Life is lifing. It's part of the journey.
life is lifing. But you know what? We're growing with the flowing.
Oh yeah. And look at us. We did a 46-minute podcast. We're killing the
For
game.
the second time!
Literally killing the game. And we had
Literally.
video this time the whole way
We're
through.
fucking
Like,
killing it.
yes.
Dude, all of this is working. The math is mathing.
Hell yeah. Aligning, alignment, transmuting, alchemy, all the things.
Damn, that feels good. Okay, love you.
I love you so much. Go do your life.
Thank you. You, too. You
Yes.
get some good rest tonight.
Yes. We will
All
talk
right, yeah.
so soon.
Yes, love you.
Love you.
Bye.